Great to have you all here today. I'm looking at Plan B. Now, all of us have a Plan A, We have that plan of what it is that we think needs to happen in life. Maybe you set out in your journey, in your life, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the timeline. When I was 8 years old, I knew I was going to be an astronomer. And I've loved looking at the stars and the heavens ever since. But it didn't exactly work out that way. There's been a few plans since then. But what I want to be talking about in terms of Plan B is that it's BE, that so many times we get focused on doing rather than being. Have you ever noticed we're called human beings, not human doings? And yet we spend so much of our time and energy revolving around doing, trying to make this happen or trying to solve this problem. And it's okay. It's all right to try to solve problems. There's two, as I see it, two real choices that we have with any situation that we are unhappy with, that is somehow displeasing to us. We can either try to change it, we can try to change the situation by leaving it, or we can change the situation by trying to work with the people in the situation, or we can work with ourselves. We can work with ourselves so that we're accepting the situation and learning to surrender in it. And by surrender, I don't mean, I just give up, but I mean really accepting and embracing, believing that something beautiful is going to emerge from it. I have a friend. His name is Reverend Scott Marshall. He is the senior minister of First Church of the Nazarene in Wichita, Kansas. It is the church that I grew up in. And Scott and I have had times to talk together and share together. And he's really quite an illuminary. He really has an evolved consciousness socially and in many ways. And I love talking with Scott. And he gave a message early on in his tenure there at First Church of the Nazarene where he said, ministry got so much better once I resigned. Now, what did he mean? He got to the point in his ministry where he was tired of it. He was tired of trying to make everything work and tired of trying to make everything function, trying to get all the groups going, trying to get all the boards and committees going, trying to do the song and dance on the stage every Sunday to try to please everybody, to educate, inspire, and entertain all at the same time. He got tired of all this being focused on him, of him carrying the burden, if you will, of what happened there at the church. And so he got to the point where he resigned. Now, not like he turned in his resignation, but more like he decided, I'm resigning from this idea that it's somehow all up to me. I'm resigning from the idea that I am somehow the Savior and the Superman that's supposed to solve all issues in the church and in the world. I'm resigning from the idea that I somehow need to please everybody. I'm resigning from the idea that everything has to happen by my initiation and effort. And he discovered when he resigned from that, ministry became beautiful. Some of you wonder what we mean by moving from minister-centric to mission-centric. Well, this is it. It's about all of us being in this together. Yes, I'm the senior minister, and that carries responsibility, and that carries leadership, and that carries a lot of things with it. But it's not up to any one individual, because we're all in this together. At North High School in Wichita, Kansas, I took canoeing. That high school was right on the river called the Arkansas River. We do not call it the Arkansas River. In Kansas, we call it the Arkansas River. That's how we know who's native and who's not. And so I would take canoeing, and I always knew when I was with somebody who was an experienced canoer and somebody who is completely new at it. Someone who's completely new at it might paddle the wrong direction. They may not know for sure how to paddle. They may have their arms crossed the wrong way and they're trying to paddle like this. They may not know exactly what they're doing. And I would need to give some instructions so that we're going the same direction. Like we're a team. And we are all a team here. We're a community. That's what integral ministry is about. That's what mission-centric ministry is about, is that we are all a team, that we're all in this together. But what's more important than doing is being, really being this community, really being this presence. How many of you this week got so tired that you just wanted to take a break and hide somewhere? Anybody? Okay, there's a few of you. And I hope you took that break. I hope you listened to yourself. It's real important for us to just be. Some of you, dare I say it, many of you may be type A personalities. Do you know what a type A personality is? Busy. Wants to be in control. Predict and control. A type A person wants to know what the plan is, stick to the plan, push it, push it, push it. No letting up on the accelerator. We got to get this done. Here's the agenda. Ever been on a vacation with someone like that? Like, here's the agenda. And it's like 12 hours later in the day, it's like, whoo, vacation's harder than working. So what would it look like, instead of us being a type A personality, to be a type B personality, that is BE, to just be? To allow what we do to come from who we are, to allow what our actions are and how we live to come from our being. Wouldn't that be different? Wouldn't that be a nice change? I've been a student of the Tao Te Ching for 35 years. And anyone else here a student of the Tao Te Ching? Anybody? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Number 15. You can look it up when you get home. Number 15, there's a stanza in it, and I particularly like Stephen Mitchell's translation of the Tao Te Ching. And in number 15, it says this, and it's written by Lao Tzu. Can you wait until the mud settles and the water becomes clear? And let the right action arise of its own. Can you wait till the mud settles and the water becomes clear? Now, in Kansas, we don't have ocean. You probably knew that. We do have lakes, and they're muddy. They're muddy. And, I did a lot of water skiing in those lakes in Kansas. And when you walk into the water, there's just silt and mud coming up. You can't, a lot of times, sometimes you find clear lakes, but a lot of times it's murky. And the more you stomp around in it, the murkier and muddier it gets. So, some people, in trying to solve life's problems, are stomping and trying to fix the problem, and they're making it more and more murky and muddy. As Albert Einstein said, you can't fix a problem using the same thinking that created the problem. And a number of us, by our doing, by our efforts, are trying to solve a problem, or we think life is a problem, and we're trying to solve the problem of our lives by harder and harder work and struggle. And what we're doing is just making it more and more murky instead of just being. Jesus talked about this in Matthew chapter 6. He has this particular message that is contained within what's called the Sermon on the Mount, where he says basically, why do you worry? Why do you worry about your life? Why do you worry about the things that you will eat and what you're going to wear and where you're going to go? You know, look at the flowers. They don't worry. They don't stress out. And yet each one of them is clothed beautifully. Why do you think with all your effort that you're somehow going to improve your life? Now, it's true that we need to apply ourselves, but again, I'm going back here to the Tao Te Ching, so I'm bouncing between Christian scriptures and Taoist scriptures, okay? And in unity, we can do that. I love it. So in the Tao Te Ching, there is a concept called Wu Wei. W-U, and then W-E-I. Wu Wei. Now, literally, it means no action. But it doesn't mean no action. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means that we have practiced something, we have worked at something until it becomes second nature, until it just becomes part of us. Maybe you've heard that phrase that, oh, they're like a fish in the water. That is, they're just doing what is, it looks so natural and so easy. Well, they've worked at it probably for years and years. It may be a speaker, it may be a singer, it may be a musician, it may be a runner, it may be a writer, who knows? But they have gotten to this place where they are one with their action, and so the action does not require so much effort because they're one with it. They're not having to push it. They can just be it. And when we can be what we do, when we do what we really are, then we have so much more strength available to do it. How many of you here have ever worked at a job that you knew was not yours to do? Anyone here ever had a job that you knew wasn't yours? Yeah. Wasn't it hard? I worked at a place in Wichita, Kansas called Metal Fab Incorporated. It was a place where we worked with stainless steel. We worked with all kinds of metal, and we were making chimney flues, we were making air conditioners, and so I was working at spot welding, I was cutting metal, I was forming metal, and it required fast work. It was assembly line. And if you've ever worked on an assembly line, if you get behind, then the rest of the line gets behind, and they're all giving you stink eye. And I can remember my foreman walking up to me and just staring at me and saying, "Do you know you're holding up the rest of the line?" and I'm sweating and I can see them. Of course I know that. They're staring holes right through me. But, I'm one of these people who likes to do things perfectly and get it in perfect order. They want it done fast, And it didn't take too long working in that factory for me to realize this is not what I want to do the rest of my life. I knew it. I was already feeling some call to ministry, and I was feeling it stronger when I was working at Metal Fab. It's like some people have this amazing gift of working with their hands and doing that kind of skilled labor on assembly lines and making things, and it is a gift. It is a gift. And I bless any of you who do that. That's amazing. And I knew this was not mine to do. One day if any of you have ever worked with stainless steel and cut stainless steel, it is sharp. It is razor sharp when you cut it. And I sliced part of my hand open one day, and I thought, I'm going to pass out. I thought, God, get me out of here. Some people feel that way about their entire life. Like, how did I end up here? Did someone send me to the wrong planet? Was there a mix-up in the celestial mail? How did I end up in this place? Some people feel that way about their lives, like it's never totally come into that woo way of just being in the flow of living and doing without having to stress or force it, just being like a fish in the water. Some people don't know what I'm talking about when I describe this. I have talked with people who are well along in years, maybe retired, and they've told me, I've never known what I was here to do. I've never known what my life is about. I've never known what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Now, one of the first things I start to talk with them about is, instead of worrying about what it is you're supposed to be doing, let's look at who you're here to be. Let's start at being. Really learning who you are and being that presence of the divine, being this presence of light, being this presence of love. There are people on our planet, and some of them are right here, and some of them are listening online, who know what is theirs to do. It's to be who they are. Do you realize that when we allow ourselves to be who we really are, to be our highest self, that's what the world is really calling for? That when we are being our highest self, that the world is waiting for that gift. Who you are is so important that the universe has placed you here just to be what you really are, and to be that in its highest expression. What you are is so amazing and so important that the universe is begging you, just be. Just be what you are. And when we allow ourselves to be what we really are, what I notice is it's contagious. I love this type of contagious situation where when we allow ourselves to be who we really are, then other people begin to pick up the vibe and say, oh, it's okay for me to be who I really am. It's okay for me to really step in to my gifts. It's really okay and blessed to just live life out loud instead of living in the shadows. We are here to be. Now, the next time this week, here's your homework assignment. The next time this week that you are tempted to force a situation, and there will be something that will come up this week that will tempt you. I promise it. It's the way this world is geared, is to help us to learn to do this. The next time you're tempted to think that I've got to force my way, I've got to make it happen, ask yourself this: what would it look like for me to just be? How would it be if I would just be? How would that look in this situation? What would show up in this situation? What would emerge in this situation if, instead of trying to predict and control everything that happened, to just be, and to be my fullest and highest self in this situation and see what wants to emerge? Wouldn't that be fun? How many of you are willing to accept that assignment? Great. And the rest of you, you're thinking about it. You're like, don't make me commit to anything. But just try it. The power of this month is strength. All of us have the power of strength. It's in us. But so much of the time, we short-circuit it by pushing and thinking it's all up to us instead of just allowing ourselves to be. When we allow ourselves to be, then we have all the strength that we need. When we are in the present moment, we have all the strength that we need because the divine is in the present moment. One of the phrases for the divine throughout the Hebrew scriptures and Christian scriptures is the I am. Not I was or I'm going to be, but I am. When we're in the I am, when we're in the present, when we are here right now, all the strength, all the resources, all the creativity, all the imagination, all that we need is supplied. Everything that we need is here in the now. Just be and go with plan B. Thank you. I invite you to breathe into that as we go into our time of meditation. Breathe into that space of just being. I think of the scripture that says, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know. Be still. Be. Be in the moment as we breathe into this minute of silence. as we allow ourselves to just be in this present moment, to be in the light, to be in the love, to be this presence, we attune ourselves to this prayer, to be this presence on earth as it is in heaven.